Hi, this is G, and this is my reflective task 2 for assessment course 849. The background of this assignment is that I'm selected ESL or EL student who's learning English language like what I did when I was maybe 16, 20, a few years ago. And I selected two parts. One is selected response assessment method. The other one is personal communication. As we know that one selected response is good for knowledge, and their personal communication is good for knowledge as well, and it is good for the skills. So here are the learning targets. Students are able to perform understandings about basic grammar knowledge. This is a ESL or ELL lesson, so it can be math or it can be other types of lessons. But I want them to see to understand about some basic grammar knowledge. Students are able to identify nouns, verbs, and adjectives, which is very basic. Students are able to understand the subject verb agreement. This is a basic. And students are able to use appropriate prepositions. This is advanced, but it's not easy. And the students are able to explain why they select the answer. Because I used a selected response, so I want them to think about why they selected that and tell me why. Here's the material. It's not a big one, so we don't need to look at this. And I selected the selected response because of the characteristics of the method. First, it's good for knowledge. Grammar is knowledge. Can access some reasoning targets. Yes, why? Cannot access the quality of product. Definitely not product. Need some skills, but all. Yes, they do need some skills, but not at all. And here's the answer sheet, the assessment part, because we already have a student to read the material a few times, but before they read, I don't give them, before they complete reading, and I won't give them the assessment sheet. So here's the one. It's like a closed test, and you just filled out the one you think which is the best answer for that. For example, the first one, there is a big. What do you select? Argument, argumentative, argued, or arguments. Definitely you select the argument. Why? Because there is the big. Big is the adjective, and normally after adjective you may need a noun. Then you will say, okay, if it's a noun, argued won't work because it's a verb with past tense, and argumentative is not work as well because it's a adjective. Then you have A and D. Then you're gonna think about, okay, they are both nouns. One is single, one is plural. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna find another part to select. There is a. The A is the keyword. So you have to select argument. And also, let's say number 4, investigators able to unlock the phone so they can get the information about Farouk. There are 4 options: wants, wanting, and wanted. This is the difficult one. Why? It's a difficult one because you should select a few things. You should think about the few things. For example, investigators wants. It doesn't work. Why? Because investigators are plural, so wants is for single. And if you select a want, yes, you can use want. as well, because the investigators are plural, and want is for plural. Then wanting, it doesn't work here because this sentence needs a verb. And wanted, why? You probably can select wanted because grammatically it's correct, but stylistically it's incorrect because let's go back to the previous sentence and the sentence after. The FBI has is a present form. So, and also they think, that's another present form. For this part, you probably do not select wanted. Although wanted is appropriate here grammatically, but when you compare the previous sentence and the sentence following, you will see want is the best answer. There is actually no correct answer for those assessment part questions. There is only the best answer. If you can explain that to me, that's great. Then after students complete the closed test, I'm gonna have them to personal communicate with me, do the personal communication part. And personal communication can access knowledge well, can access all reasoning targets for oral communication proficiencies, which is very important for second language learners or ELL or ESL learners. Cannot access qualitative products because they just shared their understanding. They do not create something based on their understanding. So my personal communication strategy, the procedure is very simple. You read aloud, which is I can evaluate your fluency. Then you explain why you select a certain answer. That is about reasoning and metacognition. And then you explain what you learn by doing the closed test questions. So it's kind of your reflection about learning. Because it's hard for students to write their reflections because sometimes they will ignore and writing they don't want to write. But if you ask them to speak, if you ask them to say something, they probably can do that, or they are probably happy to do that. We want to encourage them, and we want to encourage them to use the way they want to for learning. Okay, here's the fluency rubric. I got this fluency rubric online. So it's like expressions and value, phrasing, smoothness, and pace. Based on this fluency rubric, I'm gonna evaluate their fluency. So remember, personal communication is good for their oral proficiency for assessing their overall proficiency. With the fluency rubric, I can evaluate their oral proficiency. And also, I want them to explain why they select a certain answer, like what I did. I select this one because grammatically it is correct, but stylistically it's incorrect because the previous sentence uses present tense. The following sentence uses present tense as well, so this sentence might use the present tense. So that's why I don't want wanted. I want. Then explain your learning by doing the closed test. For example, by doing this closed test, I feel like first I learned some knowledge about FBI. It's authentic learning experience, and we all Apple users. We use a lot of Apple products, and we know that a little bit about the American system. Although it's an authority agent like FBI, they still cannot force the company to do whatever they want to do. Everything should be under constitutions. In the constitutions, you have your rights, and the authorities cannot force you to do anything you don't want to do unless they have the law or they have the permission to do that. And also we can talk about, okay, I learned about we not only need to think about the grammatically correct, also we need to think about stylistically correct, something like that. It's very basic, it's very personal, and it's very reflective. So follow-up actions. I collected the data because some students may incorrectly answer some questions. So I collect what are the correct and what are the incorrect. And also I collect, even they select the good answer, is there any possible that they do not understand, but they just use their luck to select? Or if they select the incorrect answer, is there any possibility that they understand that, but there's only a piece that they messed up, or they do not understand? Also, based on those data, and I take notes during personal communication, and so I can create their personal portfolio for students for their learning as their learning portfolio. So once they come back see me again, I can share with that. So okay, here's we are gonna have another test like SAT or 12 IELTS test. Here is some of your weaknesses. You just need to think about these weaknesses and to perform better. For example, this can be the portfolio part. It's me, and I'm non-native speaker, so I post the non-native speaker here. Difficulties in prepositions. It's really difficult for non-native speakers to learn prepositions like in UNL, at UNL, on UNL, into UNL. So it's too hard for us. And the difficulties in identifying nouns and adjectives. As a Chinese student, I learned something about how to identify nouns and adjectives. Like if the word ends with tive, it can be a adjective, and it also can be a noun. So if I see some students have a problem with nouns and adjectives, I can tell them some rules about how do you identify nouns and adjectives. Also, if this person is too shy to read aloud. Definitely not me, because I'm not shy to read aloud. So if this student is shy to read aloud, I may ask him to record his reading, so he can record it many times, and he want to get an A or get a B, whatever. And also he can share the recordings to others. Here are some reflections. I think this is a good one. Why? Because first, I provide some background knowledge. I provide them the materials at the beginning of the course, and I talk with them about the materials. And they probably read a few times, so they grow their awareness of words and sentences. Also, the vocabulary, the grammar, the everything about English language arts, and meets our learning target. Second, I use one to support another method. Although selected response is good for reasoning, but there is a possibility like luck. 4 answers means you have 25% chance to get it correct. So in personal communication, I ask them why. I ask them to think about why it happens, why you select this answer, to avoid any possibility that they use luck. Definitely, students may say, okay, I just feel like this is a good one. Yes, how do you feel? I can ask a follow-up questions. It just takes some time. And also, be aware of metacognition. I want them to have some metacognitive strategies when they are learning grammar, when they are doing, uh, writing, when they are doing their reading. For example, stylistically, it's correct. Grammarly is incorrect, which happens everywhere. For example, can you use a but at the beginning of a paragraph? According to the grammar book, no. But according to a lot of published journal articles, yes. So I want you to read to develop some metacognitive strategies of writing by reading something. Also be aware of strategies used. I know they're going to take a standardized test, IELTS 12 or SAT GRE, no matter what test they're going to take. But they need some strategies, some really good strategies to help them to get a good score. That's the priority of ESL students. We don't blame students who do not have mastery goals. We don't blame students who only have performance goals or performance avoidance goals, because if they want to learn, the purpose is for them is to learn. If they want to learn, no matter what types of goals, at least they are learning. The worst thing that I'm more concerned about, they do not have any goal. They just come to the class, do the test, or learn in the lesson, do the test, then go back home and do nothing. So I want them to be aware of strategies used. These strategies are different. This part is different from metacognition. Metacognition is like you have some ideas coming into your mind, and those strategies are mostly situational strategies. So in what situation you should use those strategies. By designing those parts, I can say it's very time consuming, and especially when you do peer communication. But so if you can record your thoughts, you can do peer review. Why? Because you can ask your peers to listen to your thoughts and give you some feedback. Then you summarize that, then I can see your final learning evidence. And also you may, if you want to read 2,000 times, that's too many. 20 times, which is good because you can record and you review your own recording by listening to your recordings. Then you review that, you revise that, you make it way better. It's more like a self-assessment. You can read by using you can improve by using self-assessment strategies. And the last one, you record thoughts. If you are so shy, you just record your thoughts and share the thoughts to me. If you don't want to record, you want to write it to me, I'm fine with that too. But I bet students will more likely record because they don't need to use their hands. I know they're lazy, but I also want them to use the best strategy and the most convenient strategy to share their thoughts. That's all my reflective task 2. Thank you.